Hello, everybody. Welcome to Heart to Heart. Go ahead and share this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to give you guys a few minutes to log in. I know some of you guys are just getting off. We got 2 people online so far. Hey, Aileen, thank you so much for tuning in. You're always supporting Heart to Heart. I appreciate you. Go ahead and show our guests some love. I'm excited about the word today. We got 4 people live. Come on in, y'all. Go ahead and enjoy the music. This ain't gospel now, unfortunately, but we got some love songs. Hope that don't cause some of y'all to backslide. I'm just saying. Let me try to get my guest.
Shout out to Emmy.
Is that Emmy?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Emmy.
Hey, Emmy. Yes, that's my boo right there. Hey, girl. Yes. Let me try to get our guests back in here. Not sure what happened to them.
Hi, Ruth.
Truth. What's that little song?
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Ruth. Y'all bear with us. You know, the enemy is very upset right now for what's about to be released. So we're trying to get our guests back.
Yeah, Ruth.
The screen.
Yes. Hello, you guys. Thank y'all for coming in. Okay. Hold on, you guys. We're just going to refresh a little bit. You guys are here with me?
Yep.
Okay.
Is it working on your end?
It is. I had to refresh.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for coming in. We have about 8 viewers. We're going to give you guys a few minutes to come on in. Miss Naomi, Mr. Dave, how you guys are doing so far? I want you guys to just relax. We're just going to have a conversation. Listen, we're going to wait for these individuals to come in. Are you guys having a good day today?
Yes, we are.
Sleepy.
Yes, I understand. I understand.
What about you, Moody? How's your day going?
I'm going to ask you to come in a little to the right. Yes. Yes. You're fine, Naomi. You're good now. Perfect. Maybe you have to move back a little bit. Yeah, you guys have to move back a little bit.
You don't like that?
Aww. Okay. All right. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Woody St. Hill. Welcome to Heart, where this ministry meets matters of the heart. This month, we have the awesome privilege of showcasing couples that dated with a purpose. And we are here to encourage you guys to pursue healthy relationships with Christ being at the center. And I am so honored to have Naomi and Dave here. And of course, Zaire, who made it to the interview scene. I had the awesome privilege of actually being part of I was in the audience actually when I first heard Naomi's testimony and Dave's testimony. And it had blessed me so much because I remember I was in a crazy season of my life where I was just adjusting to this whole singleness thing. And her story really, really inspired me. And I didn't want to keep this to myself. So sharing is caring. And so I felt like, you know what, I was led to reach out to her. And she is here with us at Heart to Heart. So you guys give us some hearts, give her some hearts, give this awesome couple some hearts. And we are going to dive in. If you are tuning in, go ahead and share this video. I am super excited to have them with us. Again, their names are Mr. and Mrs. Metellus, also known as Naomi and Dave. So we're just gonna dive in. Like, how are you guys doing, and how did you guys meet?
You can start it off.
Well, hi everybody. Thank you, Ludi, for doing this. I think this is awesome that you're doing this, and I pray that God just continues to bless you, and so that you're able to be an instrument to others as well in your ministry. Dave and I actually met on MySpace some years ago. Like
9 years? No,
I feel like it was more than that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
We met on MySpace, and we were talking on MySpace for months, back and forth, messaging each other. Dave used to
13 years.
Probably, I don't know.
That's a minute.
But Dave used to send me poems all the time. Like we were caking.
Whoa. Poems. I had game. That's what she's trying to tell y'all.
Okay, whatever. But we were caking on MySpace for some time, and at one point, you know, after some months of talking, Dave was like, "Hey, you know, like we should meet up." But y'all know, MySpace is kind of like, like, are you a killer? Like, I don't know. I was scared to go meet up with him, and so we stopped talking for some time or whatever. And then we have two mutual friends of ours who were dating. So one day, Dave's homeboy comes to him. Shout out to Calix. You know, he comes to Dave and he's like, "Yo, you know, my girlfriend's homegirl would be perfect for you." I wasn't there, so I mean, you could tell that part.
Yeah. So if anything, I guess first thing that we said was just, "Hey, what's up?" Basically on MySpace. And it kind of just started into longer and longer conversations. We was texting like books, writing each other back and forth. And then I had my good homeboy, Calix from church. He's like, "Yo, man, my girlfriend got this friend. Like, y'all be perfect and stuff like that." I was like, "Man, she about to be ugly." You know what I'm saying?
Tried me.
So I was like, "All right, man. I mean, we can link up or whatever." So then he basically set up something at his place. Went to go watch bootleg Norbit.
Yeah, to watch bootleg Norbit. When we got there, we realized, hey, you know, like I've been talking to you on MySpace for the last however months.
Yeah, probably like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
a little minute.
So we talked for a little while, but nothing picked up, and
she tried me. That's what happened.
It was my fault because at the time, you know, like I wasn't into them gangsters. All right.
I was a gangster.
Nah, bro, you was too nice.
So you were saying that you were into gangsters?
I was into gangsters back in the day.
She didn't even know me. You just knew from us talking for a little bit. You know nothing about me.
He was too nice at the time. You know, I was lost in the world.
I didn't have dreads. That's what it was.
But fast forward, you know, we stopped talking. I had blocked him. I changed my number, and
yeah, I didn't even block you. Just
I changed my number.
I texted Naomi one time, Ruth. I was never lame. Okay, first of all, but I texted her one time, and then I didn't get no reply back, and I was just like, okay, just leave it alone. And then next thing you know, I think I looked on MySpace or whatever, and it was like add as friend and stuff like that. And I was like,
I deleted him from MySpace.
No reason, out the blue.
You know, fast forward, you know, I went back into a relationship, a toxic relationship I was in. And we ran into each other maybe like a year later.
It's like 2 years.
A year or two later at a club. We ran into each other. And we started talking again that night. You know, after that, we exchanged information. We became friends on Facebook. We started texting each other. But, you know, again, I deleted him, changed my number again, you know, and I went back into the old relationship I was in. And then what, 2 years later after that?
Not even like we met at that party and stuff like that. Then we came in, black and white polka dot dress. Still remember it to this day. She got a little shout out from the DJ. Shout out to the girl in the black and white polka dot dress. So I looked up, I was like, oh, it's old girl and stuff like that. I was like, man, I ain't even gonna be stunting her or anything like that.
So I want to rewind a little bit. You said that you were in a toxic relationship. Let's just talk about that, and how were you able to get out for individuals who are in a toxic relationship, and how did you know to let that go and give Dave a chance? Let's talk about that transition.
Well, I was in a relationship with a guy who we didn't have the same views. We weren't raised the same. You know, I was raised in the church. I knew the church. You know, even though my parents weren't ministers, pastors, anything, you know, sure? Like you might as well say there was. Like, sure? I swear my mom got a key to the church. All right. But
shout out to Salida.
But, you know, I was dating this guy who he was in the world. He wasn't raised the same. You know, I was used to going to church 4 or 5 times a week, you know, and he wasn't. He was used to going to church Easter Sunday, you know, New Year's. But we were dating and we were on and off. And, you know, it was kind of hard for me because I knew right from wrong. And, you know, I read the Bible. I knew how I should carry myself and how I shouldn't carry myself. But being with him, I wasn't doing the things that I knew that I should be doing. You know, I was too busy trying to keep this guy, you know, like, well, maybe if I, you know, do this, like, we'll be together forever. He'll marry me if I give myself to him. You know, I was lost. Mm-hmm. And it took some time for me to figure that out. You know, like we're on and off, like I said, you know, we'd go through things. I would feel down about it. You know, you want me to be really blunt? You know, we were fornicating. Yeah. And, you know, after every time, like, I remember just crying all the time because I knew I had messed up. Yeah. And it was like, dang, you know, like I was doing good, you know, like how did I fall off that track? And when I was living in Orlando, I was, you know, a student at UCF, go Knights. I started attending this church and I started listening more and reading my Bible more and trying to actually apply the things I was listening to, hearing and reading, you know, in my daily life. And I started to kind of just see some things. Like I started realizing like, wow, like this guy, he's nothing like me. You know, what's important to me is not important to him in terms of value, in terms of religion. And I just kind of started, you know, praying that God kind of, you know, open my eyes a little bit. And I feel like God was always giving me signs, but I wasn't really seeing it. And one day I was at work. I was working at Walmart at the time, and I was on the register, and this random lady comes through my line, and she noticed my name tag. She's like, "Oh, your name's Naomi. You have a biblical name." And I said, "Yeah, you know, I have a biblical name. I have my little sister. Her name is Ruth. You know, my mom named us using names from the Bible." We talked a little bit, and she's like telling me about this church that she goes to. Come to find out, it was the same church I had been attending, but I only went there on Sundays. I didn't go to anything other than Sunday service. And she invited me that night. She said, "You know, we're having a women's prayer service tonight. You know, you should come." And I was like, okay. So she gives me the information. I call up one of my friends, and I'm like, "Hey, I want you to come to the service with me." I didn't want to go alone. And while we're there, you know, they talked, they had this devotion time, and then they got into a circle, and they're like, "Okay, we're going to pray now." So there were some women, not the lady who invited me, but, you know, other women who were going around in the circle praying for everybody. So when it's my turn, I get some random lady, never seen this lady in my life. She comes to me, you know, everybody's praying individually. And she's like, what's your prayer request? What do you want me to pray for you? And I said, I want to hear God's voice. I want to be able to, know when I'm hearing God's voice. I want him to speak to me. So she starts praying for me, and she's like, God is telling me that what you've been asking him for, he has it for you, but you keep going back on your word. And it was making sense to me, because every time the guy and I would break up, I would get back in church and I would be like, okay, God, like, I'm done with this guy. Like, I'm done living the way that I've been living. I want to live right. I want you to send me somebody who is going to honor that, who is going to help me and, can walk that walk with me. But, I would always end up back with the guy. And, she's praying. She's like, God is showing me that he has something for you, but you keep going back on your word. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. So she says, she asked me, she said, are you married? Her asking me that question, I don't know, like, it just broke me in pieces. Like, I just immediately started to cry, because I knew what I was doing, and I knew, the way I was living was not right.
Living in sin.
Yes, living in sin.
Sinful life.
And she's like, are you married? And I'm like, no, I'm not married. Ludi, I'm in tears. And she's like, what you have right now, you think it's something, but God has better for you. He has it for you, but you keep going back on your word. I went home and I just was in tears. Like, I'm like, dog, this lady just read me like a book. She don't know me. Like, I have been asking God for something, like, what the heck? And I remember kind of just, going home like, man, what should I do? Like, I should break up with dude. And, I started like, maybe she was just talking. Like, I started kind of doubting it. And I remember telling the story to Vanessa. Vanessa. So Vanessa's like, girl, sometimes, like, when God wants to tell you something and you're just not getting it, he will send somebody on your path to repeat it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like, that's what happened. So I started praying, and I was specific in my prayer. And I said, God, like, you see my heart and you see how I feel about this guy, but I don't want to be with him if he's not the one for me. And I asked him straight up, I said, if he's not the man for me, take the love that I have for him out of my heart. Yes. Within a week, somebody that I was so in love with, somebody that, like, consumed my time, my thoughts, everything. Like, I could not stand the sight of this guy. I couldn't stand the look of him. I couldn't stand his scent. Like, I had to get away from him. Like, I don't know what it was, but, like, God showed me, instantly, within a week, like, this is not who I have for you. This is not what I want you to be doing. Not who I want you to be with.
That's awesome.
And, like, that moment, it changed everything for me. Like, it transformed, like, it really did a lot for me, because I don't know if I ever would have got it.
Amen.
She was foolish.
Are you guys getting something? All the viewers, are you guys getting something? I have 22 viewers tonight. I want you guys to share this video. Are you guys enjoying this so far? Because listen, she's blessing me right now, y'all. I don't think I understand. Like, she is blessing me. Somebody says, man, when God opens your eyes. Someone says, amen. Yes, she's amazing. Yes. Thank you guys so much. So we're just going to move on in with the questions. So, Dave, how did you know that she was the one? Did God give you a sign? Like, how did you know?
I mean, it was probably a few different things.
Please share with us. So please to the men out here, because we need them to get it together in Jesus' name.
Well, I mean, for me, it was a number of different things. It was like, Ruth, you're too funny. It was like, I used to do things and make my own decisions all the time. Like, I would always try to figure out my own problems and like, all right, I'm about to hit this lick or whatever the case may be during those young days and stuff like that. So it came to a point where every decision I was making ended up blowing up in my face. So I got to a point where I just really relied on God's knowledge and not my own. I had to first realize that I don't know it all. I ain't got it all figured out. I need to stop, okay, I just need to do this. So now I'm going to do this. Like once I kind of relinquished that control and let God kind of make the decision for me, that's what really opened up my eyes. And then it was just, I almost felt like, my whole life was in preparation to be with Naomi. Like it was like similar situations that I was going through, while we were dating and everything like that. And like it was like taking a test that you had all the answers for. So aside from, God giving me those confirmations, whether it was her being around my family or me being around her family, and just opening up my heart, to her like never before, like no one ever, like it was just too many things.
Now you said that you were in the same situation. Were you also in a toxic relationship, such as something similar before meeting Naomi?
I wasn't even in a relationship. I was in relations. That's what was going on. So
Simple.
Man, ain't no shame. Ain't no shame in my game.
So when you, and I want you to talk about this a little bit more. Someone has a question. We're going to get there. Now you said you were in relations. Was there something that was broken in you that caused you to be in relations? Because nowadays, let's just be honest, guys are broken and they're trying to fill a void. Can you tell us a little bit about, why were you in relations and not in a committed relationship?
For me, it was kind of like, following that stigma of like, trying to be the guy in a sense of, okay, what makes you like a man and everything like that is that, you have all the attention of all the different girls and everything like that. And just kind of being involved and being wanted. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you would be with people and everything like that, but you always felt that hole in you. It was never complete. So until I started to like really analyze myself and really seeing that common denominator within all those situations, like, why? How come I can't really, why don't I feel this way towards this person? Or, what is it that's blocking me from getting to that level and everything like that? Until I did that, that was what kind of opened it up for me.
Okay. So we have a question. Question for Dave. Were you actively looking for a serious relationship, even initially during the back and forth MySpace days?
Oh, well, I think for guys, a lot of times, like, guys have to be in that mental headspace to want something serious. A lot of time with most guys, they don't know exactly what they want. They'll meet a girl and the girl like will have everything figured out. Like, all right, we're going to get married. It's going to be springtime. It's going to be white roses and doves and stuff like that. For guys, that's usually not how it is. I knew during the MySpace time that Naomi was different. I acted completely different than I did with anybody. It was part of the reason why she tried me the first time. I actually tried to be honest and let her know that, hey, I like you. And that scared her away.
young and dumb.
Instead of playing them games and stuff like that. So, I knew that down the road that I always wanted to be like married and find something serious and find that happiness. I've seen it, within my family and stuff from before. And I've also seen, what it leads to when you don't have it, with my mom and stuff being divorced. So, it was always like trying to in search to avoid that whole situation, basically, or to fill that void and stuff like that.
So Naomi, how did God confirm to you that David was the one? Because everybody has different answers. And when I was asked this question,
honestly, like I literally was praying every day, like, God, if Dave is the right one, like allow him to fall in love with me and to just really be into me. Like, don't let it be me that's so hot after him, and like I'm looking for him all the time. Like, don't allow me to make.
You were feeling the kid though.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just saying.
Messy for him.
I'm just saying.
Messy. Don't allow me to be searching after him. Because I've done that and it didn't work. So it was like, send him to me. Have him look for me. Have him be interested in me. And there was a time where, I was getting ready to have him meet my parents. And I was like, let the visit go smoothly, because my mama don't be liking nobody.
Right.
Okay.
Is that proper?
My mother doesn't like a lot of people. So, like I knew, if she was kind to him, she would like him. And I just was praying about the whole thing, like just being really specific. Like, if God, like if we could call God and ask him, like, how do I talk to him? I think he would tell everybody, like, I'm like very specific, and it's probably annoying to him, but I'd be legit like, God, like, if he's the right one, like let him wear like a pink shirt, on a Tuesday. But that's what I was doing basically. And, Dave was just showing a lot of interest, and, like he seemed to really be into me at the time. And I was just like, okay, everything looks and feels right. And I think this is the path that God's leading me down.
That's good. Now, how long did it take you guys, or Mr. Dave, how long was the courting? Well, what is your definition between courtship and dating? And how long was your process?
I mean, I guess to just start off first, we were from being officially item November 8th. By March, we was engaged. So 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I feel like people like to put definitions on different things on dating and courting. I feel that it should be one and the same, but courting, I would say, is more so when you're more intentional, when you are really trying to work to get to that point of marriage, with that being that goal of, the next person I meet or whoever I'm going to be involved with, like, this is going to be something serious, and, this is going to lead to things like this. While dating, I feel like for a lot of people within this generation and stuff, like, they feel like it's just like chilling, and I think that people don't realize how serious, the person that you're involved with can impact your life. It could be a complete detriment, or it could be something that's a true blessing.
That's good. That's good. Great answer. So what are some of the struggles you guys overcame in your singleness prior to transitioning over to marriage?
You want to start?
Trying to withstand from sex. Before we got involved, like in my daily prayers, I would just ask God for strength and, tell him, like, the next person you send on my path, let that be my husband, and allow for me to, withstand from having sex until we're married. I didn't want to do the same thing over again, because the same thing don't work. And I think that was, something that we struggled with, because we both, initially within like getting back together, like started talking seriously, like we expressed that, where we were in our Christian walk, and, what was important to the both of us. And, I realized that Dave had the same values that I had, like we held the same values, and it was hard. Like, let's be real, once you've done the deed, to go to not doing the deed, it's hard. Y'all boys, like, it gets hard. But
keep it real, honey. Keep it real. Keep it real. You gotta...
It was hard, man. The devil be at work, girl. He be working.
Oh God.
Okay? Trying to tell you. But because we were on the same page, we were able to be that rock that the other one needed when, things are getting a little bit too hot.
Yeah. Basically equally yoked. I feel like a lot of times people try to turn a person into, this is the person I'm supposed to be with, and y'all really not on the same page. You know, y'all not really on the same path and on aiming towards the same goals and stuff like that. So a lot of times I feel like, you know, people try to turn that person into it. You know, there was a lot of struggles. I mean, even just from, you know, we waited and everything. And I remember when Naomi first even told me of like, listen, I'm holding off to marriage and stuff like that. And then like for us guys, especially us guys, you know, we were born in church and raised in the church and stuff like that. You hear that and in your mind, you're like, all right, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta say it, you gotta mean it. That's what it is first.
Right now.
You gotta when the time comes, back it up. Don't say it and then, you know, you have that moment of weakness and then boom, you don't fell off the track. We're not gonna take you serious. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is for guys.
They'll try.
So what boundaries did you guys set in your relationship that helped you both?
We didn't hang out too late.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in Orlando at the time, so you know I was on my own. Dave would come visit me often, but like we wouldn't just be caked up in my room by ourselves all the time. We hung out with friends and roommates. Yeah, we hung out with my roommates, with friends. You know, we weren't just in my apartment, just laying up in the bed together. You know, like we make sure that if we were going to be around each other, it was, you know, at a decent time. Like, I'm not married to you. You're not married to me. Like, we ain't finna just be out here in these streets, you know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, hanging out, talking on the phone. You know, like we had people around us all the time. And, you know, we weren't just out here trying to live like, you know, we were married people already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of time people try to, you know, let's play married to see if it's going to work and stuff like that. It never leads to anything good.
Right. So how is accountability when dating? For individuals who are dating privately or in the dark, who has not yet invited anybody into the relationship, what advice could you give them? And of course, explain to them the importance of accountability.
You need somebody who's going to check you. You know, you need someone who's in agreement with what you're doing and who will help you. Like, you know, our pastor likes to say, you know, being a Christian doesn't make life easy, and you should not have to live this life and do this walk on your own. You know, having somebody who's in agreement with your walk, you know, who understands why you're doing it, and, you know, who wants the same things is important, because it gets hard. You know, it gets hard. You want to just give it up at times, but, you know, to have somebody there that can ask you, well, how's it going? You know, oh, you had a hard day, you had a rough moment, you know, well, did you pray? You know, like, here's this verse that, you know, helped me when I was going through it, you know, here, maybe it'll help you. Like, you need that. You can't, this life is hard alone. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason to why you have to do it on your own. Like, there's no success in that.
Mm-hmm. So are you guys getting something? All the viewers out there, do you guys have any questions? Feel free, because, you know, the line is open. The live is open for some questions. I see that you guys are documenting. Someone says Nay is giving specific prayer templates tonight, ladies. Hope y'all get in. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Somebody says accountability is important. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Please go ahead and share this video. Now, I know you guys spoke about some values, and I want to go a little deeper with that. What are some of the values you recommend singles waiting on the Lord for their spouse to consider before courtship?
I guess for me, some of the values were, you know, some of the things I kind of grew up around. Like, you know, for me, honesty and respect, you know, and just kind of putting God forward and you know, just having that real deal relationship, not that, you know, holier than thou type relationship where, you know, you're just so holy and stuff like that. But like, just transparent. Like, I'm going through this, and communication, I say, is probably the biggest thing between all those things.
Okay. You wanted to add to that, Miss Naomi?
Maybe love. Like love yourself.
Right.
Like you can't possibly be in a relationship, be in love with somebody, and for somebody to love you if you don't even love yourself. Know your worth. Be content in you by yourself. That for me is the most important.
That's good. Yes, someone says yes. So, what have you guys learned so far about marriage?
Takes work.
Still learning, basically. We've been married. It's been about
1 on 8 years.
Yeah, I think so.
7 years.
No, 8 years.
Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I think one of the biggest things, I guess for me per se, is getting out of your own way. A lot of times, we bring our own routines and things that we like, and marriage is not about you. Whenever you're thinking, like, I think us as single people, we're very selfish, and marriage kind of rips the soul out of that or whatever. Because if you want it to work, being selfish is just not going to work. Getting out of your own head and communicating and telling the truth and being honest, and communicating when it's hard, when you're annoyed and feeling every type of way. And
definitely communicating because, and I'm guilty of this, like sometimes like you just be mad or you just feel some type of way
for no reason.
And you're expecting your spouse or your partner, to already know what's going on in your head. But you haven't said anything. You haven't communicated anything. So, like you'll continue to be with this attitude or just, have a bad, you got a stank attitude, and it's like, they don't even know what's going on with you. But because you're mad and, well, you should know why I'm mad.
I wonder who she's talking about, right? Out of which one of us, right? Who's that?
Me, I just said I'm guilty of it. Okay. Like communication is important, because you just be mad and don't nobody know why you mad. And if you would just communicate that and just be open and honest about it, it wouldn't even take for all of that. So that's definitely important. And then I believe that, waking up every day and choosing your partner over and over again, marriage is choosing that person each day, fighting for that person every day. You could have been mad at them yesterday, you got over it, tomorrow, like, wake up, like, I love you. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for what we have. I'm going to choose you each day.
So we have we're going to take a question from the audience. How do you feel, Naomi, this question is for you. How do you feel, Dave? Naomi Metellus, how do you feel Dave led you during the relationship that made you confident he could lead you as a husband? Oh, Shabbat, my God. I felt that question in my spirit. Me?
Dave was a praying man. Like,
was?
Like, when we're dating, it's so annoying. Like we would pray together. He would lead the prayer. We would have devotion over the phone because, he was in Palm Beach. I was in Orlando. And I like that because, you want a man who can pastor your home. If you're sick, if your children are sick, you need somebody who will, be the pastor over your home, over your relationship. And I loved that about him because there weren't a lot of men like that, so I admired his faith. That was very important to me. And some other things were, they've helped me out. A lot of times people are dating and it's like, when we were dating, like we knew we were dating for marriage. And, even though we weren't married yet, like if I didn't have any money because I was only working at Walmart at the time, like Dave would look out or whatever. And it wasn't like, oh, well, here's this 50 and you got to pay me back next week. Like he would take care of me. I remember there was a time I needed to get some dental work done, and I didn't have the money. I needed like $600. And, you know, Dave didn't even think twice about it. I didn't even have to ask, you know, like we were just having a conversation. He was asking me how the appointment went. And I was like, yeah, you know, I got to get this and this done. Probably going to have to call my parents, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know, call your parents for what? You know, like, you're going to be my wife. What's mine is yours. And, you know, before the next day, I had the $600. You know, there was no, all right, so, you know, let's work out a payment plan. You know, when you going to pay me back? You know, like there was nothing like that. One time he came up.
By this time, I knew that we were going to get married and stuff like that. I'm not, listen, to all the guys that's watching this, now, don't go out paying girls' bills. Now. Don't get caught up in that game, all right?
Don't get finesse.
Yes, finesse easy.
You know, we had opened up a bank account together. Like, I saw that he was including me in a lot of financial conversations, in his finances, things like that. Like, I was seeing those bits and pieces of what I wanted in a husband, you know, through his actions.
That's good. Now, Dave, I want you to I don't even know how I want to, you know, articulate this question for a young man who wants to come on board and serve the Lord, but feel like, you know, if I make this decision, people might look at me differently. Were you ever at that place in your walk with Christ? And what advice can you give a man who wants to make that decision, but is afraid of what his friends might say about him? Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you mean. Like, you know, a lot of times, you know, you have this picture of what being Christian is. Yeah. It's usually like this, like, you know, very lame person, like, God is good, guys. All right, man, let's go ahead and we're going to go to Bible study and do all this stuff. Like, I feel like that's not real because, you know, God is very intentional and God made us and he knows that we're dealing with like real life. So I always like to apply practicality in everything that we do. Like instead of, you know, worrying about like the big sins, like I can't be out here fornicating and do this. Like I would focus on some of the little things. Like I would try not to be so quick to get upset with people. You know, try to hold my tongue and stuff like that. Treat people well. All these different types. I mean, you're so funny. Zaire has wisdom. But
Go ahead.
Once I learned that being Christian just meant being me and really trying to have that, you know, relationship with God to the point that I could hear and see him and see, you know, glimpses of his big picture. Like I just, excuse me. I just find out that like being you is what being Christian is. Like you don't have to, you know, be conformed into a certain type of way. And then once you start to realize that and you can be yourself, you know, you'll find the fun in a lot of things. And you'll find, you know, joking around and stuff like that. And you'll find that like for a guy, one of the manliest things that you could do is, you know, being a God-fearing person, God-fearing man. Like that's the manliest thing you can do.
Awesome. So we have 2 questions that just came in. How do you balance a healthy home while still making sure you date each other? And how do you make sure you're spending time with God as a priority while you're married and raising a family? So you guys can either take one or Mr. Dave.
Okay.
Well, balancing God and still being married, you know, we actually have like devotion time set. Every day where we put the phones away, turn the TV off, the kids are in bed, and, you know, we will read together, pray together, and discuss, you know, what we've read and talk about, you know, how we can apply whatever we've read in our daily walk. So, you know, like that's like penciled in our calendars. Like we get a reminder on
Google
the phone,
Calendar.
You know, an hour prior, like, you know, devotion time's coming up. So, you know, that's very important.
Yeah. I think from that, and then I also think the conversations and stuff that we have, like, you know, we bring up God in everything that we kind of see and that we do. And, whenever we'll go like to church, we'll kind of sit and digest everything, and what do you think that meant, and like we'll just have like these like random conversations in the sense of like what God has done for us individually, how far we've come from, and like woe is me, I don't even know how I was even worth it, and how God found that love for us. Like I think it's just with everything.
That's good.
I guess for dating, it's hard. Got 2 kids, got a little baby, house and everything like that, and between work and trying to advance in your career and everything, like it's hard. I feel that you just gotta try not to take it too serious, and understand that one of the key things for me with Naomi of where we were, I see you talking today, while we were dating, is that Naomi was like, listen, Dave, it's not all on you, because I was very much in the mindset like old school Haitian, almost in a sense of I need to have everything figured out. I need to have this house. My bread need to be correct. All these different things. So once I knew that she was really there for me and everything like that, things became easier. And I think that once things like that became easier and you had that confidence in the person, like everything that you do is like a date, almost in a sense. Everything is an adventure.
We turn anything into a date when we can.
Yeah, if you watching our kids for 30 minutes, we gone. It's a date. Yeah. I think we froze.
I don't know if Ludi maybe wants to refresh.
Probably. I'm still there.
Me?
We back.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So they say that your first year of marriage is hard. Was it hard for you guys?
I think some things were hard, but we were just looking so forward to actually living a married life and having that license. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even, nothing was really that hard.
All right.
I think it was just kind of just getting used to things. Like I remember one time we got back to our place. Naomi was washing clothes. She dumped all the clothes on the bed. She folded all her stuff, and then left all my stuff on the bed. I was like, bro, so you just like, she's like, oh yeah, I'm married. Oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, I'll fold your clothes. You fold my clothes. Like that
was hard because I was used to just taking care of myself, and I do my laundry. I gotta do my stuff. So it was hard for me to realize like, okay, it's you and Dave now. Mm-hmm. And like he said, like I legit left all his clothes on the bed, and I was like, yo, the laundry's on the bed, so make sure you put your clothes away. And he was just like, you put your clothes away. Why you didn't put my stuff away? And I'm like, because it's your stuff. Right. And he's like, but I'm your husband. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, so that took some getting used to. But, I want to say like our first year, like we had fun.
Yeah. We
if
definitely
anything,
had fun.
It was just a matter of, like, really seeing how we were, now in one home, attitude-wise, communication-wise, things like that. But I don't think it was hard.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's just getting used to it. I had to learn how to answer my phone and be ready, and just in case it was an emergency or anything like that. It was just a lot of things like that, I would say.
We have a special question from little sister Ruth. Would you like to read that for us, Miss Naomi?
Oh, hello, Ruthie. Since you mentioned you were used to taking care of yourself, how did you combat that and get used to Dave when you were dating than in marriage? I never treated Dave like he was my husband you know. Like, Dave came to my apartment. Dave cooked for me. You know, I think I cooked for him once, but like I didn't wash no clothes for him. I wasn't ironing no clothes for him.
Yeah. No.
You know, I was just being a girlfriend, as opposed to, you know, you marry somebody and now it's, you know, hey, I'm cooking dinner. You know, after dinner is cooked, you're going to work tomorrow. You know, let me make you a plate. You know, here's some lunch. You know, you like this. You know, let me do this because it's something that you like. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm doing laundry. You know, where's your dirty clothes? You know, it's not just how I want to do laundry and doing my own laundry now. You know, it's both of our laundry. Mm-hmm. You know, ironing clothes as opposed to before. Like, I wasn't doing none of that. Like, where's your stuff? You better get your stuff together. You know, but after marriage, you know, I had to take on the role of being a wife and cooking and cleaning and starting to look out for Dave.
Yes, and vice versa. Just because you're the guy and everything, you got to do all those things as well. I think we kind of combined. You know, I had to show her that I had some skills in the kitchen, and I was doing all this stuff solo dolo as well. So for any guys that's watching, make sure you learn how to do all this stuff. Don't just depend and think that it's the woman's responsibility. It's not. It really isn't. It's
the word.
I'm done with you, Ludi.
Oh, I felt God. I feel God.
Ludi, I'm done with you.
That's funny.
And you, Mr. Dave. That was the word.
You are a whole joke. I'm done.
So this is my question. You know, they often say that, you know what, work on you. Would you say that the both of you guys had everything figured out before saying yes? Or did you guys work on things?
No.
You know, I mean, I feel like I was working on, you know, like I got a little attitude problem or whatever.
A little?
You know.
Dave he's just putting everything tonight.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my God. You see?
But we got single folks that's slaving, trying to get the body right, you know, trying to get the degrees, you know, trying to do this and that just before they say, yeah. So can you guys help us? Because
there's no way you can get everything ready. You know, I would say the main thing to focus on is focus on yourself, focus on your attitude, focus on your communication skills, focus on love. Because you get into a relationship, you get into a marriage, you have to love that person. You have to not be selfish when you want to be selfish. You have to understand what it means to share, what it means to communicate, what it means to, you know, speak with somebody in a loving tone, in a loving manner. You know, there's no way you can get everything right.
Yeah.
You know, like Dave, I remember, was concerned with finances or whatever. I remember us having a conversation and he's like, you know, yeah, like, I mean, I'd have to buy us a house and, you know, I'd have to have somewhere for us to live. And man,
I thought I had to have some stacks. Man.
Yeah. Dave was thinking, you know, like he had to have all these things set. And I was like, you know, when you marry somebody, you take on help. You know, it's not, I'm going to marry you and I'm going to take care of you and do everything. You know, I'm marrying you and, you know, I am your partner and you are my partner. And, you know, if I have 50 and you have 50, you know, we have 100. You know, when we get married, we're adding to what we have and we're using that together to create a life. And, you know, I think a lot of people think, you know, well, let me get my finances right. And then, you know, like, I can do that, or let me go get these degrees and then I can do that. You know, like you can't do all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Moral of the story is that you can't get it all together. It's best not to try to get it all together. Doing all those things, I feel like you build routines and you build these tendencies within you, which really is for like a single person and not for a marriage. You shouldn't let all those things hold you on. If anything, when you find that right person, and I feel like one of the hardest things for a guy is like, you know, as a guy, you have that choice between, all right, I need to make sure all my stuff is together, or, you know, risk losing a person if you feel like that person is necessarily, you know, the one, and God has been revealing that to you. Like, you grow into all those things. You know, we're still growing. You know, Naomi, sure enough, went and got her master's degree. We got our master's degree. I took all them classes too. Shout out to Lynn.
Can't stand it.
I didn't take like half of your classes though.
All right, Dave.
I'm just saying.
All right, bro.
But like you grow into things, you know, and I feel like the sooner that you can find that partner and for you guys to come together, like 1 + 1 in a marriage equals 28. Like that's how much it multiplies. Like it doesn't even make any sense. So once you find that person, like I say, go for it. You know, the biggest accomplishment I feel like you can make in your life, 2 things, you know, finding God, loving God, accepting Jesus in your life as your personal savior. If you haven't done that, do that now. That's my little preaching moment right now. But second, I would say is, you know, finding that person, recognizing that person, and being open to God's plan for you to be with somebody. And there's definitely somebody for everybody.
That's awesome. So a lot of the questions that I'm getting, we did address them. So if you guys want to do a replay, that would be great. So someone says, you know, how long did you guys date before you guys got married? So about 4 months, correct? Or
4 months.
Okay, so someone says some people believe in the man's responsibility to handle everything like the olden days. What do y'all believe?
I mean, for me, like the olden days, that was a certain time and a certain demographic. Things have changed, you know, just like, you know, our lives have considerably changed, you know, living nowadays. And as each generation, things change and they're dealing with different tribulations, different roadblocks and stuff. So you got to find out what works out for you, man. It's expensive out here. Like, I ain't out here moving no bricks or nothing like that. Like, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, this helper that it says in those olden days, like Proverbs 31, you know, she goes into the marketplace and she comes back with, you know, double, basically. I feel like, you know, it's supposed to be a team.
That's
When
good.
Effort, you get further along.
So I want to go back a little bit, and I want you guys to both, you know, explain your experience just a little bit more for those individuals who, you know, are attracted to the thug life or the ratchet girl. Okay, so Naomi, so you had best of both worlds. You had the guy who was in the world, and now you have the guy who's in the church. Let's talk about the difference and, you know, the challenges, of course, and what was a challenge in this relationship and how sweatless it is in your marriage with a God-fearing man. Let's just kind of talk about the difference.
Well, in the other relationship, you know, challenges were beating myself up about certain things, like around
guilt.
Guilt. But around that time, I was struggling with passing a certification test for my degree. And, you know, I would talk about it. I would cry about it. I would stress about it. And there wasn't that support, you know, of, you know, you can do it. You know, why don't you pray about it? You keep talking about it and worrying about it. But, you know, have you prayed about it? You know, like, let's read this scripture on it. Like, there was no support there, you know. And with Dave, you know, I haven't been open about this with everybody, but, you know, like I graduated with my master's, and there's, you know, a next step that I need to take now. I need to study for a state test, and I'm scared about it. You know, I'm afraid of failure. And, you know, like, I've cried about it, I've talked about it, and with Dave, he's prayed for me. He's, you know, like, rub my back, and like that's understandable. Like giving me those encouraging words and reminding me of who God is and what God has already done for me in the past with different situations, and just reminding me like to keep the same faith that I've had before. With someone who's in a believer of God versus not a believer of God, what you get is different. Without a believer, you don't get that support. You don't get those encouraging words. You don't get anybody who's gonna pray with you, pray over you. And with a believer, you get those things.
Amen.
And that's important because you go through things.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell us about your experience dating a woman that's in the world and a woman that's a believer?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, my ex was kind of like that too. Like we used to argue and stuff like that all the time, and we were very much, living in the world, and we had different types of problems. Like the things that I had to deal with in that relationship, like it was non-existent. Once me and Naomi got into this relationship. It's just, a lot of things are just very different. The moves are different. The conversations are different. The level and the depth of the connection is different. Like, that's why when they say like, being equally yoked, like it's a big, big thing. Like it's tough enough with just being, human and being a guy, being a girl, and you trying to figure out what this text, what this emoji mean and stuff like that. Like, are you happy? Are you sad? What's going on and everything? But it's just so different, so different. Like I feel like, I'm glad that I went through that situation because now it allowed me to, know what I need, what I don't need, what I don't want. And it gave me something to kind of, basically a point of reference. And like, when they tell you to, try to wait and try not to, be involved with all these people, like, I feel like God made that plan intentionally. Like the more you try to get involved, the more you date around, the more you try to compare and stuff like that, it just confuses you even more. So I feel like you just letting, all these spirits kind of enter into your spirit, and it just further clouds from what the true goal is. You want to read this question?
What if Sally died? Hey, my little girl. What if Sally died? That's my mom. Didn't favor Dave.
Whoa.
Do you think things would have been different? A lot of individuals do take their parents' thoughts and feelings into consideration, right? Wrong or right? What's your advice on that? Good question, Mar. You have to be in prayer on your own. Some people can give you the wrong. Don't allow that to cloud your judgment and your decision making. I was already in prayer about it. So there wasn't much that like my mom could say. Of course, I would want her to agree on Dave and like Dave and, give Dave that final stamp of approval. But I just, like it's important that at the end of the day, God is the one that confirms who I should be with, not my parents or my friends. So with that, just continue to pray about it and let God be the one to drive your decision, not anybody else.
Okay. Are you guys getting something? We have 22 viewers. I hope you guys are sharing this video. We are going to open up the floor for questions. Again, a lot of the questions that you guys have asked, we did answer them in the beginning of this video. This video will stay up for you while you guys can replay. No problem. Everybody saying amen. Come on, sis. So the floor is open for you guys to ask questions. Mr. Dave, do you have any wisdom for the men?
For the men?
Hold on, I think we're getting some question. Okay, when you get married, you take on help. I'm not sure what this question means. Now, okay, so this is my question. They often say that when you get married, you know, it's important that you don't involve people in your relationship. But don't you think that it's important to have some form of accountability partners in your marriage in case, you know, what something happens, someone else can, you know, correct, you know, either Dave or Naomi? Do you guys have that people that you guys can lean on, that you guys trust when you guys hit like a hardship? Or do you think is you know, just totally cut off people in general from the marriage to that could assist?
That's important. You know, you do need somebody that you could go to and talk to. You know, am I going to go to my single homegirl about, you know, how I feel like Dave tried me? Nah, you know, because her mentality might, well, not might, you know, like it could very well be different from the mentality of somebody else who values marriage, you know, in the eyes of God. So, you know, we do have couples that we know really well and we trust them really well that, you know, should we need some advice, you know, we can go to. And we have couples who might come to us and ask us questions. You know, it's important to know who you can trust with that, because not everybody is for you. Not everybody is for your marriage. You know, not everybody's going to pray over your marriage if you're going through something. So, you know, you got to have that discernment, you know, within who can you trust, who can you not trust. Not no single friends, you know, we don't go to family or anything like that, because, you know, Dave's family might side with Dave. My family might side with me.
They probably would side with me. Okay. I'm just saying.
All right, Dave. But, you know, that is important for sure.
Okay, so we have the questions are coming in. All right, Dave, I'm sure you may have advice for the men for Dave, but what do you have for the ladies? I mean, to each his own, but there are certain things you guys can agree on regarding women. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, definitely not wrong. Like, I feel that, you know, with women, like, you have all the power in your hands. Like, it's so crazy to me of seeing, like, women bend over backwards sometimes for guys. Like, you know, you literally have the power to, you know, create what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept. And I know a lot of times women like to conform to, you know, what they feel that everyone else is doing and everything like that. But when you look at the relationships that are lasting and then that they're happy and that they're good, like, a lot of time those things, you know, don't equate to that type of relationship. You know, just like how Naomi was saying, like, you gotta love yourself. Like, you can't be super duper lost. You know, I've spent, I don't know how many hours, you know, talking with both of us, with women and stuff like that, of, you know, trying to kind of get to that point and to really love and honor yourself and to really take things, you know, serious in the sense of, you know, if I'm saying I'm going to wait and stuff like that, like, whenever you're saying something, have conviction in it. You know, don't just, you know, talk about it because it sounds good. You know, be honest and everything like that. Just really trying to communicate, deal with the day-to-day things. Like, I feel like those are just the best things. David? What? You're too loud.
Sorry, y'all.
These kids, man. What?
So someone wants to know, so you guys dated for 4 months, then you guys got married. You guys weren't scared? If so, how did that dissolve? That fear.
You know, the crazy thing is, I remember the day of our wedding, getting dressed and thinking to myself, you know, this man proposed to you after 4 months, right? And like, all these months had gone by and I never for 1 second guessed it. You know, I honestly feel like, you know, like, God never texted me and said, girl, you know, that's the one. Okay, don't be crazy, don't lose him. But I felt that peace within. You know, when I was with him, it felt right. He respected me. He respected my wishes. Where I was weak, he helped me to be better, and everything just felt right. It felt perfect. And I know that nothing is perfect, but I truly believe that, when God wants you doing something, when he wants you somewhere with someone, he makes it perfect.
Amen. That's right. So someone wants to know, do you have any brothers, single brother? I don't know where this question came from.
No single brothers.
Yeah. One of my younger brothers just proposed yesterday. Shout out to Pedro.
Okay. No single friends. No. Just I don't know. Get some water.
Get some water, girl.
Seems like there's no hope for the single people. I'm trying, y'all. I'm listening. I'm trying to see where it's at, but Mr. Dave holding out. So you ain't got no friends?
I don't know, but do I have any?
You have some friends.
They got a lot of friends now, because we can't do thugs no more, Jesus. I'm tired.
Hey, man.
I ain't about that chick. I'm snitching. You bring the cocaine.
Birds of a feather, man. Birds of a feather.
All together.
Okay. Someone says 4 months seem too short, but when God time, it doesn't matter what we. Amen. So are you guys enjoying this? I hope you guys share this. Listen, we only have a few minutes left. Aren't you guys excited? Did you guys gain some wisdom? Listen, I got my life all the way together. Thank you so much, Naomi.
Anytime.
Did you guys enjoy this? No thugs, girl. No thugs. We need God-fearing people. Listen, I just can't do it no more. So go ahead. This video, I'm gonna leave the floor open just for a few more minutes. But your questions, a lot of your questions that you guys asked, we did answer them already. Again, this video will stay up, so go ahead and share this video. Looking at some. Yes, Monet, I did see that question. We did answer it.
David.
Alex, you ain't got no questions, Alex? You don't have no questions for the brothers, Alex? So any words, I want Mr. Dave to close out, this segment. Just give the brothers some words of wisdom. And of course, Naomi chime in. Encourage the brothers a little bit to just, get their life together in Jesus' name.
Get life together. Oh, okay. Basically, it's good to find a wife. I realized that Naomi was a wife around the first time that we had met. I already foreseen these kids that are throwing around Elmo chairs all over the place was going to be around. Just don't try to have everything figured out. Do try to have a foundation. It is cool in 2018 to love God, and you won't be considered a lame and anything like that. Like, if anything, some of the best things that you can actually do is really put God as a part of your life and everything. I know Naomi could agree and stuff like that. That communication is a big thing. This is kind of what we've always wanted, and we're just blessed to be with each other. And I think that's something that we kind of realize every day. The good, like seeing the kids and everything, like it's good, but it does take a lot of work. You don't just wake up one day and it's like, okay, I'm happy and I'm married, and I have all these Louis bags and stuff like that. Like it doesn't work like that. It took a lot of me realizing how many flaws and stuff I had, and her realizing how many flaws she had.
None.
Right. If anything, marriage, I felt like really put a spotlight on this thing. It put a lot of our issues on blast. So if anything, our marriage helped us with our personal relationship to even get closer to God and to really work on ourselves. For all the guys, this is where it's at. Get with it. Don't think that being around having a bunch of girls and stuff like that it's definitely not the move. You know, at the end of the day, you're still gonna be empty. You know, and that's definitely what you don't want.
Miss Naomi, do you have anything for the single ladies that's allowing God to, that's waiting on God to write the story, because the story looks a little too long?
For the ladies, you know, it's hard because with us, we plan our lives. You know, like we're young and we're like, oh, I'm gonna get married, you know, by 23, and like it's hard. You want those things, you think of those things, and you see other couples with those things, and you want that. But you know, like just work on you, work on loving yourself, and work on being in a relationship with God. You know, like I don't mean, going around like, yeah, Jesus is my boyfriend, we went to the movies last night. Like, I mean, like really getting to know who he is, because at the end of the day, God is a jealous God. And, something I had to learn was, when you make somebody your priority, your everything, your all, God's going to strip you away of that, because he wants that attention. He wants that affection from you. And, it's important to have what you want with someone, have it with God first. Allow for him to complete you, and he will, once you're ready, he will send somebody along your path that he has always been preparing for you. And another thing, hold on to that preciousness. Like don't give it away to everybody. Like now that I'm married, like I can understand, why they say, to wait until marriage to sleep with somebody. Like it's a special bond between you and your husband. It's your ministry, and having that with other people, it can only cloud your judgment and cloud your thinking. You done slept with Billy, Tom, and Mike, and you get married to, Jared, and you're thinking about Billy and Tom while you with Jared. Like it does nothing for you. When it's with the right person at the right time, it's special. Hold out on that. The right man, he's gonna wait. I truly believe that true love will wait. It's worth it.
In other words, don't be spreading like peanut butter. That's it.
Don't be out here, giving the milk for free, because he ain't gonna buy the cow.
Amen.
Make him wait. Dave couldn't wait, so he put a ring on it.
Yes.
Dave. I was able to wait. You know what I'm saying? I
know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, being easy in these streets.
Right. Right, Dave. Right.
You ready to watch me?
Lock till you get the rock. That's all she's saying, ladies. Lock till you get the rock. Now, so for those of you that will be tuned in, Ruth is so. For those that will be tuned in later, or for those of you that have questions that you guys wanted to ask Naomi, her social media information will be in the comment box. So please make sure that you connect with her. Ladies, please understand that somebody else's spouse is not your husband. Please do not get in Dave inbox trying to question this man.
But I screen them all, boo. I screen them all. FBI, I know it all. I keep it alive.
They're not checking for me, man. They're not checking for me.
Please.
Gang, don't let me come out.
Please, somebody else's spouse is not your husband. He can't counsel you one-on-one. Please refer all your questions to Naomi, because whatever happens, I am not responsible. Hear me when I say this. This is the Lord speaking now through me. Okay? I am not responsible. I cannot be responsible. Now, for the gentlemen, listen, Mr. Dave, I'm sure he will be able to address any questions that you guys have. Again, connect with them, okay? I love you guys. Thank you guys so much, Naomi and Dave, for your transparency. Everybody loved it. They are sharing it. They're commenting. You guys will be able to go down and just see all the beautiful comments. You guys have 235 comments. So that's amazing. Listen, I have to keep it real, y'all. Okay, so I love y'all. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing.
Keep doing.
Yes, thank you guys. You guys go ahead and share this video. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.